Hello, hello, hello. Sorry for being late, my friends, but I'm here. And we have a really exciting topic that I have been wanting to cover for a very long time. But it's hard. There's so much to cover, and I want to bring you guys like the best information with the least complexity so that you can understand it. So it took me a lot of time to get it together. And I wanted to make sure that I could team up with a great company to provide you guys with a solid source of iodine, and I could give away free bottles of it and much more, and give you guys like a huge discount. So it took time to get everything in order, and timing is everything. So what I'll do is I'll wait for people to jump on, because I know a lot of people are really interested in the topic, and I don't want to prematurely start. So wait for you guys to jump on. That's the first thing. The second thing is, while people are jumping on, let's do a little CBD update. There are a lot of you using CBD. I'm overwhelmed by the testimonies that continue to come in. I'm really amazed with seeing my dog's own testimony and how she's really like 360, partially with the CBD, partially with being on a clean diet and really good supplements for her. When I first got her, I was told she had a heart murmur. My vet in Toronto saw her and said sans heart murmur, which was just amazing. Then I started looking into the studies of it, and also seeing that some veterinarians out of Australia were noticing the same thing. So that's great news. I have a couple special clients who have MS who are doing amazing with protocol, working with me and using CBD. So that's really nice to see. It's just really nice to see a lot of healing. It's nice to see a lot of people getting the results that they were expecting or not necessarily expecting. So that's really awesome. And there's a few people who have emailed me and said, hey Les, like it's just not working at all. What's going on? And it's so difficult to hear that, just because of over 1,000 people using it, there's like less than 4 people who weren't experiencing or getting the benefit that they wanted, and it saddens me. And it makes me just believe that there's something else going on, that the system might be so depleted that it needs time to build up. Liver health, gut health, dietary health. So I'm trying to work with those people to see if we can do something to help them get the benefits, of the CBD that they were so hoping for. So there's that. So that's all great. If you haven't gotten your CBD yet, I do encourage you to try it. Kids, pets, family, anybody can use it, because if there's not something directly wrong, there's going to be something internally wrong or something else going on, and everyone can benefit from it. So it's the long-term use of using it and getting the endocannabinoid system working and getting everything going. So that's a CBD talk. We'll post the CBD link later. I will give away a bottle of CBD tonight. I'm also going to give away a couple bottles of iodine from this company, which we'll talk about in this live as well. So I see a lot of you jumping on. I'm really excited. So there's enough of you here. So we're going to start the iodine conversation. Try and keep your questions for me till the end, because then I have to scroll back and, do that. If you want to win a CBD bottle, if you want to win an iodine bottle, 2 things. Make sure you comment here so I see you, so I can pull your name. 2, you have to stay till the end, because that's when I'm going to give it away. So, okay. So guys, so let's do this. Let's talk iodine. Let's really understand the depletion and the deficiency in iodine in society, and why, and what are symptoms. What is iodine, proper dosing, iodine deficiency, deficiency symptoms, risk factors that are linked to iodine. We'll talk about selenium and the component of selenium and what selenium does with iodine. Okay, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about pregnancy. I'll just go over a lot of really great things. I'll go over, again, the brand that I like, the brand that I'm using. I'll show it to you. I'll show you how to take it. And let's just talk. So be patient, guys, because there is a lot of amazing info. I have notes in front of me, so I will refer to them from time to time, just so I don't miss anything. So if you see me glancing or looking a little bit away from directly at you, this is why. So let's get started. So first of all, I'll ask a did you know question. And that question is, did you know that iodine deficiency is now regarded by the World Health Organization, WHO, as the most prevalent and easily preventable case of impaired cognitive development in children in the world? And there are at least 30 million suffering with this preventable condition. We know thyroid disease is so prevalent. We know that Synthroid is the #1 prescribed medication in the world. We know that that creates a synthetic hormone, or to trick the thyroid into thinking that it's producing iodine, which it's not. So we know that, or maybe some of you didn't know that, okay? What is iodine? So iodine is a trace mineral, and it's an essential component of our thyroid hormone, specifically our T3 and our T4, and those hormones regulate the metabolic activities of most cells and play a vital role in the process of early growth, development, most of our organs, especially the brain, and inadequate intake of iodine or iodine-rich foods leads to insufficient production of these hormones, which adversely affect the muscles, the heart, the liver, the kidney, and our developing brain. So again, we'll talk about pregnancy, breastfeeding women, and during pregnancy. So I'm going to read you some iodine statistics that I think are surprising, or maybe not surprising, but are rather interesting. So the National Health Nutritional Examination Survey reported that iodine levels have decreased by 50% in the last 30 years. Okay, more than 96% of over 5,000 patients tested were iodine deficient in a clinical study conducted by a very famous thyroid doctor named Dr. David Brownstein. And according to the WHO, the World Health Organization, iodine deficiency affects 72% of the world's population. Guys, that's huge, okay? In 2011, 70% of households globally had access to iodized salts, okay? So that's a big number too. The term iodine deficiency disorders has been coined to represent the different array of disorders that result specifically from iodine deficiency in a population. So these are all what we would consider to be preventable if appropriate doses of iodine are administered. And those common disorders that result from iodine deficiency are mainly surrounded by the thyroid. So hypothyroidism, increased cholesterol levels, swelling of the goiter, which is, we'll talk about, decreased fertility rate, increased infant mortality, fibrocystic breast disease, atherosclerosis, and breast cancer. And something that's really interesting for breast cancer patients or survivors, actually using a solution higher, and I'll talk about different solutions, but a solution, let's say like 12, to literally paint the breasts with iodine, or paint the cervix from cervical cancer with iodine, is really, really, really something that people should do. And even if you don't have breast cancer, I think that that's something that we could practice, if not every day, every few days, as a preventative, guys. It's so important. And I'll talk about another doctor who I really admire, and someone in this group introduced me to, who I think is a genius, and you guys can look him up. His name is Dr. Circus. And he talks, and it's Circus with an S, and he talks, and he has books on iodine, and he has books on magnesium, and he talks about oxygen and everything. He is someone really good to get some great resources for iodine, okay? Iodine deficiency symptoms and clinical signs, okay, of symptoms of iodine deficiency, guys, there's a long list, okay? But if any of these trigger you, listen up, okay? So depression, difficulty losing weight, dry skin, headaches, lethargy, or fatigue, so being tired often, lack of energy, memory problems, menstrual problems, so hormonal problems, recurrent infections, so if you're prone to infections and the weak immune system, iodine should be part of everybody's first aid kit, okay? A sensitivity to cold hands and feet, so that's a circulation, brain fog. Guys, the next one I hear every day, Leslie, why is my hair falling out in clumps, and why is my hair thinning? I get that question from women specifically, but does not dismiss men. Thinning hair and falling out hair is not normal. Yes, we lose hair when we shower, or we brush out freshly washed hair, but hair should be thick, guys. It should be shiny. It should be beautiful. I pride on my mane. I love my mane, straight, curly, wavy, whatever. Iodine, okay? Constipation, guys. Shortness of breath, impaired kidney function. So maybe if someone is getting constant kidney stones, maybe looking at iodine is something you want to look at. Muscle weakness and joint stiffness. So those are just some symptoms that are these are clinical signs and symptoms of iodine deficiency, but that doesn't mean that there's not other symptoms associated with iodine deficiency, okay? Now I want to talk about some of the risk factors linked to iodine deficiency. So when iodine intake becomes severely low, the thyroid compensates for decreased levels of developing a swollen thyroid gland, or nodules known as a goiter. Okay, so it can pop up here under the neck, close to where the thyroid is, and it's a goiter. Okay, and I'll talk about goitrogen foods and stuff, but if you notice that, especially women, men have an Adam's apple, but if you notice a bulge on the neck, that's something to look at. Also, bulging eyes from the head or any bit of yellow in the eyes, this is also considered a thyroid condition. It's called Graves' disease. Okay, so and our goiter, our thyroid glands with our nodules, known as a goiter, in order to absorb as much available iodine. So the FDA currently has set recommended daily allowances of iodine of 150 micrograms, okay? We'll talk about this. So this is sufficient enough to eliminate goiters that are prevalent in iodine deficiency areas, and then following are going to be potential factors that may lead to iodine deficiency. So it's important to know that our soil source, so when it comes to food, when it comes to anything that's going to be quality, the soil matters first. And finding good soil these days, sadly, unless you're really growing your own food or you live in this amazing place, and if you do, invite me because I want to come live off your land, but soil depletion, okay? So low dietary iodine. So soils from mountainous areas such as the Alps and the Andes and the Himalayas and areas with frequent flooding are likely to be deficient in iodine. So food grown in iodine deficient soils rarely provide enough iodine to the livestock and population inhibiting there. So again, even those of you who aren't plant-based eaters and people who are meat eaters, again, you're not getting that quality beef or chicken that's being fed properly to pass on that iodine to you. And it's the same thing with B12, guys. Everyone thinks B12 is coming from animals and eating animal protein. B12 is eaten first by plants. They're plants. It's the animals eating the plants that are able to provide you with B12. And I love that question, and I love that myth that people are often very confused about, okay? So unlike nutrients such as calcium and iron or vitamins, iodine does not occur naturally in specific foods. So rather, it's present in the soil and then ingested in the foods grown on that soil. So in the early 20s, the 1920s, Switzerland was the first country to fortify table salt, okay, with iodine to control the endemic goiter. So to lessen that, to take that away from people. And then in the 70s and 80s, controlled studies showed that the iodine supplementation before and during pregnancy not only improved cognitive function in the rest of the population, but eliminated new cases of the goiter issues. Iodine is obtained primarily, again, through diet, but can be obtained from iodine supplements, and we'll talk about that. So in food that is found primarily, again, in sea life, iodine is absorbed into the body through the consumption of sea vegetables and seafood. And then other sources are going to be, nuts, seeds, beans, turnips, garlic, onions. Those are good sources provided that, again, the soil contains sufficient quantities of iodine. Now, the second problem is that we know the waters are polluted. We know that fish is turning up with super high levels of mercury. And even our sea life, our sea vegetables, the seaweeds and stuff, they're so contaminated. So finding companies that have fresh water grown seaweeds is kind of going to be where you want to get your source from. Now that goes to say too, like things like chlorella, spirulina that are coming from the waters that are these blue-green algae. You want to be really careful where you're getting those from. Okay, so more risk factors. Again, we come back to the idea of selenium deficiency. So iodine deficiency coupled with selenium deficiency is likely to lead into thyroid imbalances. So think of selenium and iodine as lovers, okay? They can't live without each other. One's air, one's water, one's air, one's fire, one's water, whatever, one's yin, one's yang, however you want to pair them together. So iodine deficiency coupled with selenium deficiency is likely to lead into thyroid imbalances. And one of the more serious manifestations of thyroid imbalance is a goiter. So in many individuals who are diagnosed with iodine deficiencies, studies have shown some may have selenium deficiency as well. I would say all. So the thyroid gland needs both selenium and iodine to produce adequate levels of thyroid hormones, but when there's a deficiency in one or both, your body has low thyroid hormone levels, and that's why adequate iodine levels are needed for adequate thyroid function. Iodine is known for playing a vital role, guys, in thyroid health with benefit-rich selenium. Selenium is critical, and it helps to recycle iodine. So it helps to keep the thyroid producing it. So it goes in a circle. So when you give your body selenium, it boosts the iodine, and vice versa, okay? So when selenium levels are low, the thyroid will work harder to produce thyroid hormones, and the body will have a difficult time changing these hormones into forms utilized by cells. It's important to treat both deficiencies in order to reestablish normal thyroid health, okay? Let's talk about pregnancy for a second. So I just have a study here. So according to the journal Pediatrics, about 1/3 of pregnant women in breastfeeding and pregnant women take iodine supplements, and supplemental iodine is commonly in the form of sodium iodine or potassium, and severe iodine deficiency is associated with stunned mental and physical growth, and even marginal iodine deficiency can impair brain function in infants. So supplementation should include at least 150 micrograms of iodine and use iodized table salt. So again, coming back to that, looking at pink Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, those are the salts that you want to do. I don't like looking at salts that are fortified, that have it added. I like to look at the more natural. Okay, so combining intake from supplements and food should be between 290 and 1,100 micrograms a day. Potassium iodine is the preferred form. Okay, smoking, guys, for those people who still actually smoke, people still do that. So tobacco smoke contains a compound called, I can't even say this, it's called tyrosine. So it's an inhibitory effects of that on the uptake of iodine is through competitive inhibition of the iodine transport mechanism. So basically it competes with each other. So every time you smoke, it brings down it challenges your iodine intake. So other substances in tobacco smoke then that can impair thyroid function are going to be metabolites, nicotine, benzophenines. And tobacco smoke not only has an effect on the thyroid function, but also blocks thyroid hormones. Okay, we want to look at our water source, guys. So fluorinated and chlorinated water. So for instance, Montreal doesn't have fluoride in our water, but we definitely have chlorine in our water. You can smell it. When you turn the tap on, you can smell it. I don't even give my dog that water. My dog is a Berkey drinking dog, okay? So tap water contains fluoride and chlorine, which inhibit the absorption of iodine. And this, guys, it's not just food. We have to look at all of our environmental factors. So in a study where researchers used intelligent testing to determine the IQs of a total of 329 8 to 14-year-old children, living in 9 high fluoride, low iodine villages, and in 7 villages that had only low levels of iodine. As discovered, the IQs of children from the high fluoride, low iodine villages were lower than those from the villages with low iodine alone. Okay, so they're saying it's like a double whammy. Get clean source of water. You do not have to spend a significant amount of money on a water filtration system to get clean water. I bought a Berkey for less than $400, and I know I'm going to have to buy new cartridges, filters, and I'm okay with that. I get hit up a lot of the time from that Kagan pH alkalizing water. I don't think it's so healthy. I think there's a lot more behind that, a lot of good marketing behind that. Okay, so now here's this thing about these goitrogen foods. Okay, so And I'm kind of on the fence about them, and I'm kind of not 100% sure that I would say omit them completely unless you're sensitive to them. But eating raw vegetables in the Brassica family, so cauliflower, broccoli, kale, cabbage, soy, Brussels sprouts, minus the soy, I think that those are okay to eat. I just don't think people who have thyroid should eat them in significant amounts, but they can impact thyroid function because they contain goitrogen, so molecules that impair the peroxides. And steaming them, steaming these cruciferous vegetables until fully cooked before consumption breaks those goitrogens down. So if you do want to eat them, eating them cooked is better. And people with iodine deficiency are at risk when consuming these foods. But I'm not sold on that completely 100% because I've worked with thyroid clients many times, and fixing a lot of the other things like the gut and making sure the whole system's working together, I think that changes it. So how can we prevent iodine deficiency? Okay, so I'm going to talk about the source that I like and why I like it. I'm going to talk about dosing from anywhere from a 1-year-old to a 14-year-old to a pregnant and breastfeeding mom to, your average daily intake. Okay, so so this is the brand that I like. Okay, it's called Art Pharma. The reason that I like it is that it's sourced from Chilean mines. It's not sourced from a water source. So it's coming from the Chilean mines, which obviously has a rich soil surrounding it that they're able to get the iodine from it. And it is a Lugol's iodine. And I'll talk more about the company. They're also one of the only companies recognized by Canadian Health, which is kind of cool. But they do ship them all over the world. So the recommended, daily allowance. This is the recommended, guys. So these are smaller dosages, and I have to be compliant, so I'm going to give them to you. For a 1 to 8-year-old, you're looking at 90 micrograms every day. A 9 to 13-year-old is 120 micrograms. A 14-year-old and up is 150 micrograms, and a breastfeeding woman or a pregnant woman is 290 micrograms every day. I forget what's in this. Let me just see. Hold on. Is it on here? So this has 1.2 milligrams of iodine on here. Yeah, and it also has potassium iodine in it. What else can I tell you? So again, we know that seaweed is one of the best sources of iodine, but it's highly variable in its content. So example, there's different types of seaweed. There's arme, there's kombu, there's wakame, there's kelp, there's hijiki, there's all kinds of different seaweeds. And kelp has the highest amount of iodine of any food in the world. But again, the sourcing is really important, and where we're getting it from is really important. Other good sources are going to be stuff that I don't like, I don't support, I'm plant-based, but they are seafood. Dairy has some, but I'm not even going to go there. I don't even want to talk about it. Some grains have it. Some of the things that I tell everyone not to eat do have iodine, but they're not great sources. Vegetables and fruit iodine content vary. So depending, again, iodine content in the soil and irrigation practices and fertilizations that are used, iodine concentrations in plants can vary in ranges as little as 10 I think it's micrograms per kilogram to 1 microgram to kilogram dry weight. And again, it's going to vary based on the soil. Based upon micrograms per serving and daily value of iodine, the top food sources, again, I'll tell you the plant-based ones. Seaweeds are going to have, one whole sheet is going to have 16 to 2,984 micrograms, so that's 11%. Cranberries, 1 ounce has 90 micrograms, 1 ounce is quite a few cranberries. Baked potatoes, even though they're the dirtiest vegetable in the world, they have about 60 micrograms, so about 40%. Navy beans, half a cup, have 32 micrograms. Dried prunes, 5 prunes have about 13 micrograms. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about salt iodization, and just to give you the information. So it's a universal salt iodization. So programs are put into place in more than 70 countries, including the US and Canada, and 70% of households worldwide use iodized salt. So the intention of the U.S. manufacturer iodizing table salt in the 1920s was to prevent iodine deficiencies. So potassium iodine and cuprous iodine have been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for salt iodization, while the World Health Organization recommends potassium iodine due to having greater stability, and that's something that I believe in as well. In the United States, iodized salt contains 45 micrograms of iodine per gram, but again, this is synthetic. I don't think this is the way that you want to kind of be looking at that. I would rather you use benefit-rich sea salt instead and get your iodine through that. So certain foods and supplementations, rather than iodizing table salt, we use sea salt, Himalayan salt, or Celtic salt, like I mentioned before, because they contain more than 60 trace minerals and they don't pose a risk for over-consuming iodine like table salt can. And it's more beneficial and natural, plus it tastes better and it's good for you. So the benefits of universal salt iodization still require more research. I just say thumbs down to that and stick to the good sources of salt. And we need salt in our diet, guys. We need the good salt in our diet. Most multivitamins and mineral supplements contain the forms of sodium iodine or potassium iodine, and dietary supplements of iodine containing calcium iodine are also available. So it's more of the natural side, okay? Benefits of iodine. So let's talk about what's so great about iodine. So it controls our metabolic rate. So iodine influences greatly the functioning of the thyroid glands, which we spoke about, by helping with the production of hormones directly responsible for controlling the body's base metabolic rate. So metabolic rates ensure that efficiency of the body's organ systems and biochemical processes, including our sleep cycle, absorption of food, and transformation of food into energy, we can use, okay? Hormones like trithyroxine and I can't, guys, that one's a big one. It's triiodithyroid influences our blood pressure, our heart rate, our body temperature, and weight. And the basal metabolic rate is maintained by the body with the help of these hormones, which also plays a role in protein synthesis. Okay, maintaining optimal energy levels. So iodine plays a vital role in our APT production. So maintaining optimal energy of the body. I need water, guys. Hold. Berkey water filtered. Okay, so in our energy levels. So by utilizing the calories without allowing them to be deposited as excess fat, it helps prevent certain kinds of cancer. Dr. Circus talks about iodine and cancer prevention really in depth, and he also talks about iodine even just helping the common cold. So iodine plays a role in boosting immunity and inducing of the fat tissues and the self-destruction of dangerous cancer cells. While iodine assists in destroying mutated cells, it doesn't destroy healthy cells in the process. So evidence shows that the ability of iodine-rich seaweed to inhibit growth of breast tumor development, and this is supported by a low rate of breast cancer in parts of the world, especially Japan, where women consume a diet rich in iodine. So if you notice breast changes in your breast tissue, it could be a sign of iodine deficiency, and that's where painting the breast can come in. We go back to that study about women in Japan. We know that the waters in Japan are completely polluted at this point, and probably taking sources from there is not going to be your best bet. Bromine plays a role here as well, as research shows that bromine is a suspected carcinogen that may exacerbate iodine insufficiency, since bromine competes for iodine uptake by the thyroid gland and uses the tissues, i.e. the breast. Okay, it helps to detox. It removes toxic chemicals. So iodine can remove heavy metals, heavy metal toxins like lead, mercury, and other biological toxins. Accumulating evidence suggests that there are many benefits of iodine, including antioxidant function, maintaining the integrity of mammary glands, as well as antibacterial properties, particularly against H. pylori, which is a bacterial infection in the stomach and associated with gastric cancer and colon cancer. We know that it boosts immunity. So iodine just doesn't affect the thyroid. It does many other things, including playing an important role as an immune booster. And guys, there's a difference between boosting the immune system and stimulating the immune system. Iodine is a scavenger for free radicals and stimulates and increases the activity of antioxidants throughout the body to provide a strong defense measure against various diseases, including cancer and cardiovascular disease. And Dr. Circus talks a lot about using iodine to treat his kids' colds and flu season, and I got nailed with it, and iodine was part of my protocol as well. Recent studies have shown that iodine directly protects the brain cells of rats from any harmful effects of free radicals by bonding onto fatty acids in the cell membranes, leaving less room for free radicals to have a negative impact on the organism. Okay, forms healthy and shiny skin. Not bad. My skin's not too bad. Dry, irritated, and rough skin that becomes flaky and inflamed is a common sign of iodine deficiency. And iodine helps with the formation of healthy, shiny hair and teeth, and is an important trace element as a lack of iodine results in hair loss, guys. So if you are losing your hair, okay, no one wants to lose hair, men or women, start supplementing with iodine. I will post the link and the discount for you to get quality iodine. And guys, this bottle has like 1,000 drops. So like this one bottle can last. I've been using the same bottle for months, literally, because you're taking like 2 to 3 drops a day. That's it. You can take a little bit more, but you got to start slowly. Okay. Here, what else do I have for you? So yeah, again, it's going to prevent the enlarged thyroid gland. So iodine deficiency is widely recognized as the primary cause of goiters. In fact, according to a meta-analysis of China, lower urinary iodine concentration values were associated with an increased risk of goiters, and iodine deficiency may lead to increased risk of goiters. So again, adding those foods that we talked about. It helps prevent impaired development and growth in children. So studies have shown that iodine deficiency during the infancy and pregnancy can interrupt healthy brain development and growth, and infants are more susceptible to mortality and high risk for neurodegenerative problems if iodine deficiency. And so many people don't think of that. So many people that doesn't even cross people's mind, because people are just so unaware. Okay, so mental forms of disability known as certain motor functions, problems, learning disabilities, and low growth rate. And this little study here says, in fact, according to research published by professors at the University of Sydney in Australia and Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Sweden, brain damage and irreversible mental retardation are the most important disorders induced by iodine deficiency, guys. It's difficult to get an accurate reading of iodine levels, even though our doctors commonly test women for iodine deficiency during pregnancy. It's encouraged by healthcare professionals for women to increase their supplementation with iodine intake or iodine-rich foods to prevent these deficiency. So I'm going to go over some final thoughts and a couple more statistics, and then I will take questions, guys. So just to recap, iodine is a trace mineral, and an essential component of thyroid hormones are T3 and T4. These hormones regulate the metabolic activities of most cells and play a vital role in the process of early growth and development of most organs, especially the brain. Inadequate intake of iodine-rich foods leads to insufficient production of these hormones, which adversely affect the muscle, heart, liver, kidneys, and the developing brain. Symptoms of iodine deficiency include depression, difficulty losing weight, dry skin, dry hair, headaches, lethargy, fatigue, memory problems, menstrual problems, recurrent infections, sensitivity to cold hands, cold feet, circulation issues, thinning hair, brain fog, constipation, impaired kidney function, shortness of breath, muscle weakness, joint stiffness. Risk factors for iodine deficiency include low dietary iodine, selenium deficiency, pregnancy, tobacco smoke, fluorinated and chlorinated waters, goitrogen foods. Okay, so again, we talked about the recommended daily dose of iodine to be 150. If you look at Dr. Circus, he talks about way higher levels, and I just don't want to recommend those high levels right now, because I don't feel fit to do that, and I don't want to be responsible, as everybody is different. Iodine benefits the body, helping control metabolic rate, maintains optimal energy, prevents certain kinds of cancers, removes toxins, boosts immunity, form healthy, shiny skin, prevent an enlarged thyroid, and prevent impaired development growth in children. Guys, you have to remember your food source. You have to remember the hormones that are in animals. You have to remember that everything is sprayed. You have to remember that we are these tiny little creatures on earth, and everybody has so much more power over us, what we eat, what we drink. So you have to be smart and make good decisions where you can. Okay. Iodine deficiency. I'm just going to talk about quick points right here. So, let's see. Can our bodies produce iodine? The simple answer, it cannot, okay? This is why iodine needs to be part of our diets. This is also why when you aren't getting enough iodine in your diet, you need to supplement. It's necessary. Some foods, again, they're going to contain iodine. We aren't eating enough of those foods. We don't have good sources of those food. I think iodine supplementation is really, really, really important. Salts, good salts, okay? We talked about the different conditions. A lot of people, let's talk just about the different types of thyroid conditions so people have an idea, okay? So the term goiter simply refers to an abnormal enlargement of the thyroid gland, and it's important to know the presence of a goiter does not necessarily mean that the thyroid gland is malfunctioning. Okay, a goiter can occur in a gland that is producing too much hormone, so hyperthyroidism. Too little hormone is hypothyroidism, or the correct amount of hormone, which is euthyroidism. A goiter indicates there's a condition present, which is causing the thyroid to grow abnormally. So it could be too much, too little, or you could be balanced. Okay, so underactive thyroid gland, the hypothyroidism. So hypothyroidism is an underactive thyroid gland, and hypothyroidism means that the thyroid gland cannot make enough thyroid hormone to keep the body running normally. So people are hypothyroid if they have too little thyroid hormone in the blood. And common causes are autoimmune diseases such as Hashimoto's thyroiditis, surgical removal of the thyroid, and radiation treatment. And that is so scary. I know people who have lost their thyroid. I know people who've gone through that radiation. And I think that there's preventeds. I think there's healing. I think gut healing. I think liver healing. I think reversing autoimmune disease it's available to people who really want to do it. We look at thyroiditis, inflammation of the thyroid gland. So the term thyroiditis, again, anything that ends in itis is going to mean inflammation. So it's inflammation of the thyroid gland. There are many possible causes of that. So again, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, also known as chronic lymphomic thyroiditis, thyroiditis is the most common cause of hypothyroidism in the United States. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, also known as chronic lymphomic lymphocytic thyroiditis, is the most common cause of hypothyroidism in the United States. It's an autoimmune disorder in which antibodies are directed against the thyroid gland, lead to chronic inflammation. It's not known why some people make antibodies, although this condition tends to run in families over time. However, this results in impaired ability of thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormone, leading to gradual decline in function and eventually underactive thyroidism. And Hashimoto's thyroidism often occurs in middle-aged women, but can be seen at any age and can also affect men and children. And I'm seeing that now more in my practice, guys, and there's nothing more than the food and water source to blame and abuse on our bodies with poor nutrition. What else? Can it be prevented? The World Health Organization is, so they're a specialized agency in the United Nations that is concerned with international public health. And they actually just in March 2017, they listed Lugol's iodine on the list of essential medicines. Okay. And that's in the 20th edition. You can find that. So these are some things that are just, it's scary. I think there's a lot that, we can do. I think the percentages of, decrease is scary. Iodine deficiency affects 70% of the population, and iodine levels have decreased by 50% in the last 30 years, and more than 96% of over 5,000 people tested in that test were deficient. So I think, we know that the benefits, we know that it controls metabolic rate, it maintains optimal energy, it prevents certain kinds of cancer, it removes toxic chemicals, boosts immunity, forms healthy hair, it prevents the enlarged thyroid, it prevents impaired development in children. So why aren't we taking it? Why isn't it talked about a lot more? So these are questions to be considered. So that is, in short, my iodine talk. I know I only, just scratched the surface, and there's so much more. But I hope that at least you got a little bit of information. You understand the importance. You understand the risks, the symptoms. And this talk may trigger a lot for a lot of people. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for this. These guys, Art Pharma, who actually, they're Canadian, actually out of Montreal, which is really cool, but they do ship all over the world. They have different solutions. So they have solutions 2 to 12. And again, I think solution 2 is sufficient for most people. Again, when I talked about painting the breasts or breast cancer, or higher dosing of iodine, you may want to look at the other ones. These bottles are going to last a really long time. I don't even think this is the biggest bottle. I believe he has a bigger bottle. That's kind of huge. They last forever. And again, you can look up the dosing. Oops, it stains. You can go back to my talk to see it. Actually, I can show you guys what it looks like. This is a very big glass of water that you guys might see in front of me. Okay, I would take literally a shot, but I'll put it in my water. Okay, so here it is. Okay, can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so it's just 3 drops. It smells chemically. It smells like iodine. It'll turn the water. You can see it's a little bit yellow. I mean, take it in water because iodine is naturally hot, so it could burn. So that's something you want to consider. This iodine can be used topically and internally. So if people have nodules or the goiter, you could also paint the thyroid area too, which is also really, really safe. Okay. Whew, that was a lot. Yay. Okay, guys, I'm going to scroll back up because I'm sure people didn't wait to ask questions. I'm going to give away 4 bottles of the iodine for free. I'm going to make you work for them. But let me just scroll up here and just see. There's a lot of people you joined, and I know a lot of people are going to catch this replay. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Let's see. I love you, Ellen. Okay, there's a lot of highs. Hi, everyone. Sorry, guys, I'm just going through here. Oh, my dear brother even joined us tonight. How generous of his time. Okay, guys, there's a lot of comments here. Okay, guys, let's talk about questions. These just seem to see highs and people talking about specific problems that they have themselves. Okay, so if you have questions. Okay, so someone wrote, okay, hold on. Do pets need it? Okay, hold on. Okay. Yay, a free bottle. Okay, we'll talk about free stuff after. Do pets need it also? Okay, I wouldn't start giving my pet iodine. I give my pet phytoplanktons, which will have enough of that in it necessary for Maya, so she gets that. Someone said I would have never thought of painting the thyroid area. Yeah, super effective. Do you need more or less when you hit menopause? Again, it's all about hormonal balance and homeostasis. So again, I don't have the exact answer for you, but I think that as your hormones change, I don't think that you necessarily need more, as you need to be consistent with taking it. I had breast cancer in both breasts. How often would I paint them? You could paint them, again, like I need to get more information. I'm not an iodine expert. I wish I was. Look up Dr. Sarkis. He does talk about the protocols. You can buy his book. It's pretty cheap. I have it. I can look in it, Cindy, and I can get back to you. But I think frequent painting would be good because you're probably really deficient in it in the first place. Can you take too much iodine? For sure. You don't want to over supplement iodine. You want to, and maybe even test every couple months, every 6 months to check your levels, even though it's not always detected in the blood work at adequate levels. So you do want to be careful. It's not like I would open this bottle and drink the whole thing. You want to be smart about it. Will iodine help with fatigue? Probably, because your hormones with your thyroid are responsible for so many different functions. What else, guys? Any other questions? Yum, yum. Just when I want to start sipping my iodine in my water. No, I like to do a shot of that stuff. Okay, so let's see. So if there's no questions, or your questions are going to come in later, that's fine. And I'm going to be fair to the people who are going to watch this back in the morning. So in order to get a bottle of iodine, let's see what I'm going to make you do. You're definitely going to have to add people to my group, and you're going to have to comment that you did. I'm going to take everyone who commented here and enter you to win a bottle. And I would like to give this, guys, to people who genuinely cannot afford it, to people who really need it and can't afford it. If you are comfortable and you know that you can afford 50 or 60 bucks to buy a bottle a year, please leave that for somebody who can't afford it and who does need it. I like to give to those people, not that other people aren't deserving of it, but that's who I prefer to help. I like to help people who just really can't. So if you're one of those people, please message me, inbox me, don't comment here, inbox me, and I'll be glad to consider you for that. So help me grow my community. Message me. I will allow the people in the morning tomorrow. So I'll do the draw tomorrow night. So I'll give everybody the tomorrow to watch through the replay of this. And I do want to give a bottle of CBD oil away. But again, guys, not for free. Well, it's free for you, but you're going to work for me. So keep growing my community. Comment that you've added people. Help me grow the community. Help me spread awareness. Help me get CBD and iodine into the hands of everybody. And that's really why I give my time to do these talks, because I think it's so important to be educated and to have and know where you can go for the right source, for the right product. Yes, I'm going to post, guys, the link in the comments, and I'm going to post the link on its own for people, and I'm going to give you a discount code because Joe, who is the owner and founder of Art Pharma, was really kind, and he gave me a discount code. I don't know if it's 15%. I forgot what it is, but it's a discount, so you can use it. It ships all over the world. I will give you that. I'll post it here in the comments. And he's also really helpful too. So if you have any questions and, you feel like emailing him, I'll post the email so you can blow up his email. You can ask me questions as well. And again, it's Art Pharma, and I will post the link, and I will post, the discount code, which is obviously the Holistic Health Genius, THHG. And I will give away those 4 bottles, for free tomorrow night. And I'll also give away the bottle of CBD tomorrow night after you guys have helped me grow the group. Add your friends to this list, tag them in this video, and let them learn. Okay, knowledge is power, guys, and with that we can be our better selves. So it's important. So that's what I will kind of give you guys with that. I hope you learned enough. I hope it piqued your interest. I hope you discover and learn and research more, because like I said, I really just scratched the surface of this topic. There's a lot to learn. Dr. Circus, again with an S, S-I-R-C-U-S, is a iodine genius. He has a book. He talks about it all the time. He's on YouTube. Look him up and continue to learn, guys. So I will post everything you guys need to know. Thank you so much for coming. We had a really nice turnout, and I'm so glad that you guys come and listen to me talk for, I don't know, an hour. Good for you. I hope you stayed engaged and your interest was piqued. I will wish you all a beautiful evening. Have a great night. If you have questions, message me. I'm always available. I'm always reachable. So if you have questions about anything, guys, please reach out. I try and give the best advice in the fastest manner that I can without, giving away too much. If you ever want to work with me one-on-one, guys, I do offer the services. I'm usually a month backlogged with my clients, so I book about a month out to do my customized programs, basically, which is going to be a rebuild of everything. So we do gut health, we do blood cleansing, fungal, parasite cleaning, liver, organ cleansing, and we build the base of the foundation, and then we build up. So those things are always going to kind of come first, and then we work on the individual issues that you have. So I do offer that in my practice. If that's something you're interested in, reach out. We can talk about it. Otherwise, good night. Happy Monday. It's gone. Spring's supposed to be on its way in. Not here. We had a nice storm. Maybe where you are, it's sunny, so go outside and get some vitamin D for moi. Have a lovely evening, guys. Add people to the group, tag your friends in this video, and let's have another live sometime this week. Good night, my beautiful friends. I love you guys all very, very much, and thank you always for your support and commitment to this group. You guys are awesome.